Hey guys, so today I'm gonna talk about some updates on the Luigi Mangione's court appearance news, because there's some more things that his attorney is trying to do, and also talk about all the alleged behaviors that might be copycats of Luigi Mangione regarding all the CEO's death. So in this one, Luigi Mangione's attorney continues to push for in-person Pennsylvania court appearances, which is very smart. The attorney knows what he's doing, right? In general, the whole attorney team knows what they're doing with Luigi Mangione, the way they dress him, the way they try to have more public appearances of him. They know what they're doing because everything that people say about Luigi Mangione killing the CEO of the health insurance company is all allegations. We don't know if it's true. And as far as we know, Luigi Mangione could be completely innocent. There's no direct evidence. So I think making more of these in-person appearances is really crucial so that people can understand the person behind the allegations. They can see his face, and the attorney team can really explore uh, the psychology behind the accusations against Luigi Mangione and the evidence that they also utilize against him, which again is not direct evidence. And we know that Luigi Mangione was accused of shooting the UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Again, I don't feel bad for rich people being killed like this because Brian Thompson was also responsible for canceling a lot of much needed medical insurance coverage that caused the deaths of a lot of people. So he's responsible. He was responsible, Brian Thompson, for millions, at least hundreds of thousands of deaths, if not millions, for supporting the lack of coverage or denying coverage for really important medical procedures and medicines needed. So when this happened, I'm not gonna feel bad, right? Like if you want to be a decent individual, don't deny coverage, especially when they used to have it. Make sure people get coverage. They're already paying for the health insurance plans. One thing if people didn't pay for it if they stop paying for a while, but if they consistently pay for it, the whole purpose of it so it can cover the cost of medications and procedures, medical procedure need. Not talking about wants, but needed medical procedures. So they will talk about a bit about his whole background. We already know about this. I don't talk too much about Luigi Mangione because YouTube doesn't like it, TikTok doesn't like it. So I try not to talk too often about it. I do talk about outside of obviously YouTube and TikTok, like my friends and stuff. And again, even if Luigi Mangione may have done it, it's allegations. I still see him more of this is a result of capitalism. It's what happens when you don't serve the consumers that are paying for your service, and you don't regulate these capitalist private companies. These things will keep happening more and more often, which I will talk about really soon because news are not talking much about this. Very, very little news about this. Not many people are. So Dickey also argues that Pennsylvania argument being a detainer for federal authority is not equivalent to writ of habeas corpus and noted three items in recent filing that must be done for the state to claim due diligence. And these are the three items. Yeah, I think it's a good idea because the new details from Luigi Mangione's handwritten manifesto revealed in court, but we need to have in-person appearance. Now that's what the defender probably wants, or at least that's the goal that the team work with Luigi Mangione to have, as he is the defendant. And we know that a lot of people are going to support Luigi Mangione, even a lot of people are right wingers, because many people been screwed over by these big ass health insurance corporations. So it's not a surprise a lot of people are not feeling so bad. So I think doing this online and not in person would be actually unfair for Luigi Mangione. And just so that people know, this is from August 15, 2025, at least when it was updated. And I find this WTA News website. I found this interesting. Next, I want to talk about is basically how it's not just Luigi Mangione being accused of the Kennedy seals. There are more of these news happening that I had no clue until recently. This one's from August 7, 2025, from Work Reform website. Figures Manhattan, New York. So Figures Manhattan bankers after top landlord killed. The CEO of Blackstone Real Estate was assassinated. Is mainstream media downplaying the story? most likely. So, am I feeling bad for the CEO of Blackstone Real Estate being assassinated? Not really. Landlords in general tend to be slum lords. They don't really treat the tenants well. And Mandan keep increasing the rent over and over and over without really improving the apartments, without fixing shit, without ensuring that, hey, we're going to increase the rent by another 10, 20%, but we make sure that your fridge is working perfectly. We make sure that you don't have an issue with AC heating. We make sure that the halls of the apartment building are nice and clean, properly vacuumed. We gotta make sure that there's no moldy issues, and you make sure that your bathroom's working well, your stove is working well, etc. Right? A lot of landlords don't do that. For the ones that do their job and treat the tenants respectfully and well and fairly, I'm not talking about them. But in general, Blackstone has been known to be a company that really been buying homes, trying to just rent them out and overprice the shit out of it via rent, skyrocketing it, and then people have a hard time finding housing, especially single family homes. So when you create a situation where you have corporation buying housing and not enough regular people be able to afford it because they don't have the cash like corporations do, you create a lot of animosity, a lot of anger, and then the landlord still overcharge and treat people like shit. It makes sense. People going all the way to the top. Who's responsible? These multi-millionaire CEOs. They're responsible for it. So a mass shooting in Manhattan. 27-year-old Shane Tamura opened fire at 345 Park Avenue, a massive skyscraper in Midtown Manhattan. And then the police came around there. Tamura is victim, a cop, a security guard, an officer working Wesley L. LaPana, the CEO of a massive Blackstone subsid- subsidiary. Um, Diary there. So Blackstone, biggest corporate landlord in America. Yes, we know that. Blackstone controls over $1 trillion in various assets. That's insane. I'm not saying that the security guard and officer working cops should have been killed. I'm not saying that. But I don't feel bad for the CEO being assassinated. All the people involved is unfortunate. I think that was not a good thing. But this person should be fairly tried if these allegations against them are true and face the punishment of it. Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust controls hundreds of thousands of housing and rental units in the USA. They are often referred to as America's largest landlord. Absolutely, they are. I mean, I think almost everyone I talk to know about Blackstone or heard of them. I know them already for a while, and I know they've done a lot of things to kind of screw average people from being able to afford housing, whether it's an apartment, be able to afford your first single family home or even a townhome. Investment information page advertises that they benefit from chronic undersupply of housing and high home ownership costs. Absolutely, they do. Lee Partner was the CEO of Brit. Blackstone top boss Steven Schwarzman is a billionaire oligarch who has guided policy at the highest level for decades. President Obama and Trump both called Blackstone CEO regularly. Of course, they did. At record 46 million American households are renting. Yeah, a lot of people cannot afford their own house. Not because they don't want to. I don't want to buy my own home. Can't afford it right now at all. It's just a trend figures to Manhattan bankers. There's a second high-profile serial killing in Manhattan in the last year. The CEO of America's largest health insurance company was also killed in Manhattan 8 months ago, by UnitedHealthcare. The allegations against Luigi Mangione. Am I really surprised? No. You want these things to stop happening? You know what to do. Regulate these companies, including landlords, heavily. Make sure the tenants are not being screwed over. Stop with the allowing landlords to just increase the rent whenever they feel like it. Have rent control. Figure shit out so that people can afford their first single family home, not have to deal with HOAs, right? Homeowner association, and the fees on top that comes with having HOA. So we gotta keep that in mind. The other thing I want to talk about is also from CBS News. This one's more a while ago, which I also did not know about. Not many news are talking about it. March 17, 2025. I know this is a while ago, a few months ago, several at this point, but I want to talk about this being happening. Just the news barely talks about it. And TikTok, YouTube are not gonna be probably sharing this very much, but I'll try to still discuss it. Employees charged in killing a trucking CEO found after fire in Chicago suburb. So this is in Chicago, Illinois. An employee has been charged in connection with the killing of the CEO of a trucking company in Crestwood, police announced on Sunday. Sucria was charged with first-degree murder. Crestwood police said just after 4 p.m. March 5th, Officers and fire crews respond to a call heavy smoke coming from the ATG truckload company at Cosner Avenue. So this happened back in March. An autopsy conducted by the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office ruled grotesquely that a homicide resulted from injuries to his neck caused by a sharp or pointed object. Task force investigators for several hours followed numerous leads pointing to a suspect, later identified as Sucria, who was learned to be an employee that targeted the victim. The crime was deemed to be an isolated incident, which a lot of times it is. It's usually a big ground employee that are being used by the company. A lot of the CEO of truck companies really abuse the crap out of truck drivers, and those truck drivers may not be getting paid enough for it. Depending where you live, you really don't get paid that much. You get paid more as a truck driver if you work in the very high cost of living states, like New York or Manhattan. Manhattan, New York is can be one. Then New Jersey, Connecticut, um, Washington, Cali. If you do tri-state deliveries, but those can also be long hours. So it's not fair to expect so much from the truck drivers. Had to meet the expectations of the delivery of the shipment of those goods, but not paying them enough, or firing them out of nowhere because you don't want to have them anymore. You think you can rehire someone for a cheaper salary. So you gotta keep that in mind. A lot of these truck companies CEOs are not the best bosses out there. I dealt with a lot of truck drivers in general as a security officer back in the past, which I did from 2018 to 2021. Some truck drivers are good. Some of them were cool. Some of them were very aggressive. Um, some of the van drivers were complaining how they work for a truck driver, right, who own basically their own business, their own truck, but got paid like crap. So it just depends. Some people do the job well, other people not so much. And this is CEO, so most likely was making good money and probably exploiting his workers. Most likely. But I'm not gonna say that this person be arrested or anything like that. These are allegations, but I'm just saying that it kind of makes sense when these things happening. A lot of times it happens uh, because a lot of these people just don't have a way to kind of resolve the issue, and a lot of them probably piss off for a long time, and they take out the anger on the person who is responsible. The CEO of a company a lot of times is at least indirectly responsible for the anger of consumers and employees. So I can't fully blame them. Do I feel bad when a rich CEO dies? No. And I'm not gonna feel bad they're getting killed by a worker or just a resident of a city. I at least allegedly. And I can't really feel bad when they also don't do enough to protect those people. They don't do enough to really show they're actually decent individuals. In general, rich people are not good people. In general, to be rich, you have to exploit someone. Not always. They invest in the things that happen in life that you can become one. You can potentially have assets equal to $1 million. Doesn't mean you're exploiting someone specifically. I'm just saying that in general, people are multimillionaires, especially the ones that make hundreds of millions of dollars a year, tend to be the ones that are not good people. Just tends to be the case. They could resolve a lot of problems. A lot of them can donate $1 million to every single U.S. citizen and resident, and everyone can be a millionaire, right? That would never happen. They don't want to give the money. They don't want to pay off your medical debt, student loans, even though that will resolve a lot of problems. A lot of people would love to be able to pay off the student loans. $1 million, you can pay off your student loans, medical debt, and probably still have money left over to save, invest, and buy your own home. $1 million is more than enough for a lot of people for that. If it can be tax free, people can really resolve a lot of the issues. If the government's not going to cancel medical debt, student loan debt, at least that's something that rich people could do. Elon Musk can easily do that. He could easily give $1 million to every U.S. citizen and resident, and that would resolve a lot of people problems. But that's not what's going to happen, unfortunately. Rich people, whether it's multimillionaires or billionaires, just don't care enough. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. If you agree with me regarding that, not feeling bad for rich CEOs who exploit people getting killed, or if you disagree, we can talk about it. Not saying people should not be held responsible for those actions. Of course, they can go through the due process in the courts and go from there. But do you feel bad? I don't. Maybe do. We can discuss about it. If you like this video, like and subscribe. If you watch this on TikTok, follow us on TikTok and can support us on Patreon. Have a safe day, guys.